a minute. If you didn't get a chance, there were a few extra attachments that went with the agenda this time. It includes items for Cooley construction. So if you don't print those, I'll walk through it when we get to that item, but it might be helpful if you do have a copy of that or at least pulled up on your screen. There's Craig. All right. You ready for us to go, Mickey?
Yes, sir. Whenever you're ready.
Great, thank you. My name is Eric Winger. I'm the Prequalification Review Chair for the Prequalification Review Board. Thanks for joining us for the City of Oklahoma City's Video Conference Prequalification Review Board meeting. We have a few announcements to make regarding the virtual meeting. If the video conference is disconnected at any time during the meeting shall be stopped and reconvened once the audio connection is restored. If communications are unable to be restored within 15 minutes, items remaining for consideration will be continued today, March 10th at 1 p.m. via teleconference. The agenda and documents are located on okc.gov. Anyone wishing to speak about an agenda item, public hearing, or to speak under comments from board members, staff, and citizens, please call 405-297-2293 or text 405-403-5256 or email prequal@okc.gov. Speakers will be allowed 3 minutes to comment. I ask that all participants except the Prequalification Review Board members keep their phones on mute until they're recognized to speak. Prequalification Review Board will be allowed to ask questions or comment at any time during the meeting. So, calling the meeting to order. Can we verify quorum, please?
You have quorum, Chairman.
Thank you. Well, welcome to our March meeting. Going to our first order of business is to approve the minutes. Minutes are attached. Hopefully everybody received those.
So don't forget, you may need to press escape on your keyboard for your voting buttons to display.
You have a motion and a second. Thank you. Please cast your votes.
Nikki, I've hit escape a couple of times, 3 times now, and I'm not getting any voting buttons.
Do you have a Chrome button down on your start bar? Sometimes you have to click that for it to pull up.
There you go.
Yeah, that's what I had to do just now to get mine to work.
Motion passes. Thank you. We're going to move to the consent docket. There are 17 items for consideration this morning. 12 are local, 5 are non-local. Of the 17, there's 14 renewals, 2 that remove conditions, and 1 that is a new application. The new application is item number 15, Supreme Roofing, done right. I know we've got Jose on the line if there's any questions on these. Got a motion on the consent docket. A second. Thank you. If you'll cast your votes. Motion passes. We do have one item this morning, item number 4, application requiring separate vote. Mr. Jim Cooley Construction. These are some items that were also provided to the board just to provide some background. And we've tried to pull some research on this one. If you'll recall, I'm just going to kind of run through a brief timeline of why we've put this on for separate. We received a renewal application on March 11th, and it was, and this is in 2020, March 11th, 2020. And there were some questions at that time with the construction company. There are a number of projects that there had been some concerns shared. So also in March of 2020, we sent pre-qualification approval letter with limitations to the board, and it was for their April meeting. It was for our April meeting. Jim Cooley was also sent a letter requesting some additional areas of concern responses. We received responses back. They were quite detailed. That's one of the attachments. As we look at those, you'll see that there's probably, there were more than 11 items that were on different projects at that time. So this is over a year ago that had questions. Cooley provided detailed responses to every single item. Their response was a total of, sorry, I'm looking for the page. There's so many pages that they sent back. Let me just say it was more than a dozen pages of response to those items. But ultimately, what happened was this was about the time that we were going to into COVID. There was a meeting that was scheduled. They let us know that they were not able to attend that meeting to respond to the board. And then they subsequently retracted their application for renewal. And that was retracted in May. That also is attached. It was an email received by Jose. So we have just recently received their new request to be pre-qualified. So it's been nearly a year. But we did not get them before the board to respond to some of the concerns. My reading of the letter that they provided with the responses, I believe most of the responses were good. I still think that there are some questions and concerns from staff. They don't currently have any work with the city of Oklahoma City. So we've put them on for separate vote just so that we could discuss as a board on how we would like to move forward. Because we've not had any work for a year. What we are considering, and they were a Class A building and they were a Class B stormwater all contractor before, is consideration to enter them back into a provisional class. That would allow them to bid one project and we would start new with them. But I would say that there are still some outstanding concerns. We're not sure if the company has restructured or reorganized, but they have provided all of the necessary bonding, documentation, things that we would normally consider. And they've had a significant history with the city. Both positive, but then again, last year, there were some real concerns that were shared on a number of different projects.
Eric, what do you think about asking them to come in and give us a better understanding of how they intend to move forward and correct the issues that we had with them previously?
I think that would be also a great recommendation, Chris.
I'm concerned, like you are, that it's been a while, and they seem to be doing better. But what do they intend to do going forward to make sure we don't have a recurrence of the prior issues, and then maybe consider a provisional to see how they perform?
It also may give the board more opportunity to look at some of the detailed responses as I can maybe call those to your attention. It seemed as if they had a response for every individual item in one way or another, that that very few of the items were of a fault to the contractor, that it was either a timing issue, it was a response type issue. But that would give the board a little more time to also review those and maybe come up with some additional questions for them if we were to have them come in next month.
Well, all contractors have those kinds of issues, and it's their job to make sure that things get resolved in a timely manner. And I read most of the correspondence, and it just seems like maybe they weren't managing their jobs as well as they should have.
So I think that would be a great recommendation. I know that we would be willing to get them contacted and make sure that they're available for the next meeting for questions, if that's what the board chooses.
Well, I think that's a good idea. I hate the idea that someone could skirt the show cause hearing process by just withdrawing a renewal application. It seems like it seems a little bit squirrely to me.
Okay.
Squirrely is a technical term. I'm sure in engineering school they teach you that term. Squirrely.
Yeah, you ought to see what that looks like when we draw it.
I'll say I'm not aware of a pending building project that's maybe in the next month that they would be wanting to submit on. Did they give you any indication with their application that they needed this renewal, this application approved this month to bid a project?
No, sir. And then looking through the project experience that they provided, I think the hub was the last project that they were on. So they don't currently have anything that they're working on or looking to work on with the city, as far as I know, or with their application.
So Chris, do you want to make a motion that we invite them to the board meeting next month for consideration? We can do, we can defer this item and ask that they attend the meeting next month. I've got a motion on the deferral. In a second. Please cast your votes. Motion passes. So we'll invite Cooley Construction for next month. That was the only item we had for separate votes. I'm going to move for informational items. There are a couple of sections of informational. In section A, there are 6 expired pre-qualifications that we have listed in the agenda. Item B is expiration of conditional approvals, and there are none this month. And then item C is a new addition to this section, informational item. It's the Class D paving contractors that were administratively approved in the last month. And you'll see there is a total of 8 that are there. So we expect that this will be a more regular occurrence on the agenda, just to update the board of those administrative approvals following the new Class D procedure.
So Eric, in the future, could you make that say C, Class D paving contractors administratively approved?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Hey, Eric, I have received a notice that my computer is going to restart in approximately 7 minutes.
Well, we're almost done. So let's see if I can keep the clock. Are there any questions on the informational items? Seeing none, we do not have any show cause today. Are there comments from board staff or citizens? I appreciate everybody getting back on board with the virtual meetings. It looks like we had a pretty seamless getting everybody logged back in. And welcome Amy to our first meeting. Seeing no comments, we do not have any for separate vote. Is there any new business that the board would like for us to consider for next month? Going once, seeing none. It's going to conclude our agenda, so we're adjourned. Thank you very much for your time.
Eric.
Have a great day. Stay safe.
Have a good day too. Thank you all.